Hey y'all, this is Trey with TreyMixes.com. Thanks very much for coming back. And today we're going to talk about something not quite mixing related, but we're going to do some podcast editing and processing. So if any of you guys out there in audio are getting work with spoken word stuff, like people at church doing sermons or people doing podcasts or audiobook work, or spoken articles, this may help you out. So this is what I've been doing to attack a podcast that has come to me with a few problems. And so I'll let you listen to some of the things I'm dealing with and show you my little process at how fast you can get this from all right to something that you can really stream and it'll be okay and people will listen to it without turning it up or down or trying to adjust settings in their car or their headphones. That this should be very streamable audio. So let's take a listen.
The topic, can we save Tuesday's topic for the end? Because I feel like there's a little bit of, that's something that Tuesday's I kind of want to talk. Yeah. Oh, you weren't there. And there we had the beer club.
Oh,
and
that's right, yeah.
It was two.
Okay, so right off the bat, we can hear that there's some hiss in the line. Let me turn it up in case you can't hear it. We'll see if we can spot this hiss, this mic noise.
It's two separate sides of the table. One that was all of the sound designers and then everybody else.
Okay, so we've got that hissy, airy stuff. And this is the one thing that I've got here that you can't just do for free. But I use to denoise this. RX from Isotope makes a thing called DNoise. And this is pretty cool. This may get a little loud, but it'll be okay for you to hear it and understand what's going on.
The topic, can we save Tuesday's topic for the end?
So I'm going to click Learn, and this thing is going to find the hissy noises that are not supposed to be there.
Club.
Oh,
and
that's right, yeah.
It was two separate sides of the table. One that was all of the sound designers and then everybody else. And
okay, so it has found the hiss in the line. So I'm going to turn this down so you can really hear what's going on with it.
And so the sound designers were talking about sound, and then everybody else was actually talking about why game community and why we started both the Dallas Coffee Club, our coffee club.
So you can hear that noise is back in, and when I crank the threshold up to spot the noise and turn it down, you'll see that it goes away.
Coffee Club, and I wish that's why I kind of wish David was here. And what was the other one? And the game community.
Now, of course, it just sounds like it's getting turned down, but when I turn it back up in a minute, you're going to notice that a lot of the mic noise will be gone. A lot of the room noise, the air noise, air conditioner could have been going on. So the very next thing I do is I send my audio, my track that I've fixed, to a bus. And I do all my processing on this bus. And the first thing I do is I want to get it up to a more usable volume. So I use a limiter. And I set my out ceiling for -1 decibels, because when you convert audio to an MP3, which is what I'll do at the end of this to send to upload, when you convert it to an MP3, it could leave behind a lot of artifacts in the very, very high end that if you bring your out ceiling all the way up to 0, what will end up happening is you'll get some artifacts and some noise in your MP3, possibly, from where the code has changed. So I'm going to crank this up, but I want my out ceiling at -1, so when this all converts, there won't be an issue.
Community, and I feel like that's like a really good way to end because it leads into the contest we're starting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that gets me some volume back. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to use an EQ to kind of clean up what's going on here. Whoops. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is turn off everything up here and go one at a time with what I do. So we're going to take a high pass filter and cut off all of this garbage down below 100 because that's just going to be room noise, air conditioning, rumble, cars drive by and you hear rumble, someone touches their mic stand. This will get rid of that kind of noise.
Okay.
Okay.
So if that's
Didn't do
all right,
anything
so
here.
save that
Here.
Tuesday for the end?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we are recording, so...
Now we're going to just jump ahead a little bit to where there's more dialogue and turn on this node here. And I'd pulled out some around 5K because that's where some of your harshness will be, some of your DS, things you need to DS, some of the real sibilant parts of your spoken word will be up between 4 and 8. It gets pretty harsh up there. So
that they all end up being there.
I dipped some of this out.
Especially, if you're at GDC and you're quote unquote doing it right, you're never in your room anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
So you hear that hissing and whistling. That noise is going to be present. I'm boosting just a ton, just to demonstrate that that's kind of the harsh area of people speaking that we want to pull out. So I'm going to get rid of some of that. And then down in the lower mid-range, I found some bad frequencies in the speaking voices, some honky, wobbly noises. So listen.
And down in the lobby of that hostel, just that's where everybody is typically just hanging out.
So that's the range where a human voice will go, have that honky noise in it. And so it's a good idea to find it in your speakers here. We'll get to do a louder spot you can hear.
And how to break into the game industry talks. This is at the risk of starting this conversation again, because this is definitely a hot topic.
So you can hear that awe in the voice.
It's at least conquered the group several times.
That sounds like a much more usable, listenable to voice than what gets captured directly by the microphone. And next is, for anybody who's been watching me for a little bit, my favorite dynamic EQ. I use this as a de-esser. So let's pick some other loud spot where the signal will really come through. And I have this fourth node set up as a de-esser just to act as a compressor, grab the S's that are really hard on the voices and pull them down so it's not chopping your head off whenever S's come through and making your car speakers or your headphones painful to listen to.
Movement
history lesson.
Yeah. So the ESRB actually literally came was created as a reaction from the.
So you could see at the start of this, you can really see where whenever there's an S or a T or something really explosive, this will dip down and catch those. I had to find the frequencies where that was occurring at, which was around 3K, or around 6K, and just lowered the threshold on this compressor in this part of the EQ to pull it down. Again, I love this plugin. It's free. Will work on any DAW. And the rest of these are kind of just set up with thresholds in different places to just kind of grab frequencies that may pop up really, really high and just kind of level it out to provide a real level tone. So one more time, when I hit play, the frequencies will pop up in front of this spectral analyzer, and you'll see the line dip down when the frequencies get above the level that I've set.
Middle of the road.
Another
Well,
PR
that's
move.
that's the very point.
So that turns down those elements. And then I pull in a compressor, set with a fast attack, fairly fast release, and a medium ratio, so that when they get loud, with this threshold will dictate where the volume will get ducked a little bit to, again, try to even things out.
I'm so done with you. I'm
only this far into my coffee days.
So that's done, and I raise a little bit of gain back up just to give me some of what I've lost back. But I want to take these really dynamic peaks here where people are getting loud, and then the conversation is really soft because of the way it was recorded. Different mic gains, and some people are closer, some people are louder. So I want to try to preserve a fairly even volume all the way across. And then on my master bus, we do a little mastering because while most streaming outlets and services will stream out, Spotify, iTunes Now, YouTube are at negative 14 loudness units, which is a different discussion. We discussed that in one of my mastering videos, so go watch that for a better descriptor of what's happening. And what we want to do is basically just use a limiter on the master bus to squeeze as much volume out as we can to get to or near that appropriate level, while again hitting some volume peaks back down and preserving an even level across the board. So here we have this limiter. You can use another limiter. In fact, I'll pull one up and show you again with a free limiter. Ozone's limiter is just fantastic. I just love it. So this is just easier. Again, I have an output ceiling at -1. This is just how fast the compression on the limiter will work. And let's set it up and go.
I'm only this far.
Oh, and sorry, this is going to be loud, so let me turn this down some, just for the sake of this video.
I'm only this far into my coffee days.
Puns.
I don't need any coffee to be good on puns.
So, anything else?
Well, I mean, we did have the beer coffee club.
So you see, it has gotten a lot louder because I'm adjusting up the volume of the entire track. But what's important to note is that where these, like in this area, right here, these giant peaks where somebody's get really loud, is forcing the limiter to work really hard. And I was doing some with the compressor to help. But what is another option if none of this is working for you, to keep your volume fairly even, you can separate these areas like that I've marked here and here where they get really loud and just take this one section and turn your clip gain down. Now, this is where it is in Logic. In other DAWs, there will be different ways to do this, but you can adjust your clip gain up and down to try to help you, and make sure when you listen back it doesn't sound fake. So let's listen.
I'm only this far into my coffee days.
Puns.
I don't need any coffee to be good on puns.
So see, this was far less that it's having to duck down now to get an even level. So if there's somewhere super loud like this, I will go through, find some of these super high peaks and pull them down to make the limiter not work nearly as hard. And then we shoot for negative 14 loudness units. Loudness meters there's several free ones. And while this podcast will not get to that level, with the limiter and such, if we get close, all these streaming outlets will volume adjust. And so within a certain range of where they're adjusting to, it will still sound realistic and it won't sound like they super compressed or super limited the file again to get it onto a streaming service. So it preserves your quality by doing it this way.
I'm only this far into my coffee days.
Puns.
I don't need any coffee to be good on puns.
So loudness units, and I say negative 14 loudness units, that is the integrated loudness. So that is of the entire track from start to finish. Momentary loudness is just exactly what it sounds like. It's momentary. Short-term loudness, the S you will see in this meter.
So, anything else?
Well, I mean, we did have the beer coffee club last Tuesday.
Beer coffee club.
Yeah.
And you will see here that the short term is over just a few seconds, and it will change and adjust. The integrated is for the entire track, and at this point, we're at negative 20. But we've only listened to a small portion of it. If you listen to the entire thing, the integrated loudness of this, thanks to the limiting and the compression we've done, will be much closer to negative 16, negative 15, and there won't be much for them to adjust to get to their standard of volume. Without that, without ozone, what we can do is pull up another limiter. So let's say we have need of one of these. We'll set it back to negative 1 like we said, and we will start moving our limiter up while we watch our loudness meter and see what kind of volume we can get out of it. And if you have to stack a few of these or adjust the clip gain of your entire track, that is totally okay.
Thursday of every month, and we're like, let's do something opposite that, so either the third or fourth Tuesday. And I think we decided to settle on the fourth Tuesday just to...
So ozone's very effective at doing what it does, but again here, if we have to, we could just copy into a second one and repeat the process until we get near our volume level.
Just to end like the month out. And
Well, at that point, why call it the fourth Tuesday? Why not the last Tuesday of the month?
I don't know.
Actually, I think that is like kind of what we said. And
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's
yeah,
me.
No,
It'd probably be a little
I'm-
easier to track, I think.
I like to stand out. I want to be unique.
So there you can see we're starting to get closer to those levels. So that is how I have done cleaning up for a podcast, spoken word for anybody who wants to work at that. And when I first came through and listened, I spotted the intro and outro where they begin and where they end. And so when you come in to these, you may get like this. You'll get speaking in front or at the end of a podcast.
I like the shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Before the start.
Good morning, and welcome to the Video Game Open Coffee Club recap.
So, what we'll do, we will chop and remove all the stuff in front of there
Good morning and welcome to the
so that we have a clear beginning and end. And I believe at the end, yes, right here, the same. We will chop the end off
Bye, guys.
before everyone pieces out. And now we have a beginning, an end, and an edited podcast. So that is how I do podcast processing. Again, thank you very much for paying attention, sticking with me this far, and hopefully you found this helpful. Just some real simple and easy EQ, compression, de-essing, and limiting to get it cleaned up, even, and raised to a usable volume on a streaming service. Thanks again. I want to send you all over to traymixes.com, where if you sign up for my mailing list, you get tips on production, notifications about YouTube videos, and other offers and special news and information, education that I like to send to folks. You will get a free ebook on using saturation in a bunch of different unique and interesting ways to improve your mixing and your music, and a bunch of private videos only available to subscribers. So go check that out. Subscribe to the mailing list. Click subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell as these come out at least weekly. And this has been a lot of fun. So thanks again to the Video Game Open Coffee Club. I think they're due up for a name change, for letting me use their podcast on this tutorial. And I look forward to doing some more work with them. And I look forward to everybody checking them out. I believe you can find them online as well. So y'all have a good day.